We are here to think deeper.
Should die. We ideally think that everybody should get to live, 85 or 90. And something that COVID has woken a lot of us up to is the fact that we might not be granted that opportunity. And obviously there's other things like that, but I think that's kind of what we're getting at here.
Sure. And so I do want to save the COVID specific part of this for next week. This is not really a two-part episode, but what we talk about next week will build on this episode. And so there are very specific things we want to talk about with death and COVID and all of the related things. But I think we need to build this biblical ideology of death first. And I think why we bring up COVID as part of this is it exposed how little of a biblical ideology of death that we have. Mm-hmm. And the biblical ideology of death starts with your life. And Philippians 1 captures it best. Paul in Philippians 1:21, to live is Christ and to die is gain. And he's telling the Philippian church, I'm being persecuted. If they kill me, I go and be with Jesus. Great. Nothing wrong with that. That's the best thing that could happen for me. If not, I get to stay here and keep serving him, keep serving you, the church of Philippi, keep doing what God has in store for me to do. That has to be the Christian mindset of I'm not guaranteed tomorrow, but while I'm here, I'm serving God. And if tomorrow I get hit by a bus or something happens to me, okay. And so we have to live under those terms.
Now, here's a question for you guys. I'm sorry, Joe. You go ahead. I'll ask my question after you get done.
I was just going to say the unfortunate thing is we look at that as like, well, that's the Apostle Paul. That's not the average guy, right? Like he, of course, was living just for Christ and being a missionary. Like, no, that's intended. Every Christian, it's the same thing as imitate me as I'm like Christ. Like elders and older folks in the church should have that same idea. Like that's not just the Apostle Paul saying it. He is saying it as an example for the rest of us of how we all ought to live. And we all live for Christ. That's not just the best of the best, the elite, the top 1%, right. The spiritually elite. That is for all of us to have that